Hello and welcome to the Energetic Brew gathering. We are here to talk about Capricorn season and the upcoming energies that happen within Capricorn season. I am Zane McFarlane, a rising Virgo, Sun Pisces, and a Capricorn moon, here to help bring in that practical sense, that earthy groundiness back to the transits. And tonight, my co-host, Rochelle, welcome.
Thank you for having me. My name is Rochelle McFarlane. I'm an energetic medicine woman who is a rising Pisces, a Capricorn sun, and a Libra moon, here to help you merge into the frequencies of Capricorn season. It's going to be exciting. We're going to talk about what the sun is going to do for us and the new and full moon. If you're watching this on the replay on our YouTube channel and you have questions, you want to talk more about the transits, hit us up with a DM and a message, and we'll be happy to interact with you. Zane, your signal is working. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Should we get into when Capricorn season starts?
Yes, let's get into it here as the shadowness of this Mercury retrograde is still hitting us a little bit, my technology at least, which is always fun when you're trying to help support the community. So, but Capricorn season is here to hopefully bring in some structure happening in December 21st. The sun moves into Capricorn, which shifts us into that earthy structure, regulation, and rules compared to the expansive, adventurous, and truth-seeking Sagittarius that we have moved from and are moving from and into that Capricorn season. What is what do you think of when of Capricorn when you hear Capricorn?
Hmm. Well, I think about that masculine paternal connection, because it's ruled by Saturn. I think about sometimes limitations. And then I think about the connection to actually being able to pivot out of limitation and ask myself, how can I? What can I create? Capricorn makes me think about Earth, but because it's across from Cancer, it also makes me think of water at the same time of how do I care for myself? What do I do that helps me feel grounded and respect my own boundaries and my limitations? Not that I keep myself small, but actually to be playing within my capacity rather than feeling burnt out. And I'm going to say today I feel a little bit burnt out. There's a lot of energy that happened today, and so I'm kind of looking forward to getting into Capricorn season and being a little more strict with myself about getting more rest. Yeah, thanks for asking, Zane.
Yes, I can feel that sense of burnout, that tail end of Sagittarius maybe going out too, pushing too far on that adventure, and yeah, feeling the burnout, stretching self too thin, and yeah, Capricorn can reel us back in, help us build that structure from the adventure that we experienced this year, and help build that foundation for the coming new year and the year to come and the years to come. And so there's that sense of long-term vision when it comes to Capricorn and season. There's yeah, that really building that those boundaries, that those structures, and within there's that sense of yes, daily routine, but then it's that generalized career focus generally, that looking at how can I go and create something for myself, but then also for others as well. What are maybe some of the downsides when it comes to Capricorn, though? Some of
It's that
those
overworking.
shadow.
Yeah, that overworking,
Yeah.
feeling overly responsible. Myself having that Capricorn sun, I can tell sometimes that I don't know where my limits are and I just want to be a bulldozer. And that energy of like really learning and understanding it more and more. When I was growing up, I was called bossy pants a lot, and now I understand why. So, how do we pivot is what I ask. So is it just because I'm the one that wants to make the decisions, or that I feel harnessed into making those decisions? There's also something to watch out for this too, is that perfectionism, being able to really understand that we can grow our capacity and not necessarily have to get it right the first time. So that's a low side of Capricorn, not being able to pivot from that. And then unfortunately being closed off emotionally, not being emotionally available, being a little bit rigid or pessimistic too. Those can be the low sides of Capricorn. And I think about, the ability of goats. We have mountain goats in our area, and being able to see how they can potentially get themselves into a situation where they can't get further or up or down, and they're kind of on the edge. So really watch for that sort of metaphor in your own life. Where are you pushing yourself beyond the edge, and being able to reel yourself back in and soften a little bit? There's I think it's going to be cool on when Capricorn season comes in. I think it's going to be a lot about family oriented time. Starting on a six energy day, I think it's going to be really flavored with how do we create more balance? What do you think, Zane?
Yeah, that sense of, yeah, with that six energy coming in, that balance. It's also that second mind number too. So that sense of bringing in maybe more structure when it comes to our mental plane and thoughts within this Capricorn season. But then it's also that sense of bringing in that sense of healing our interpersonal dynamics, that sense of how to move forward from maybe some of the hurts that we maybe created or maybe received during that adventurous Sagittarius season and maybe adventured too far and maybe we're too blunt because Sagittarius can have that straightforward blunt energy of just go and say it. And Capricorn can still have that energy of, ooh, just straightforward to the point, but it's also done in a different way where it might trample or really just butt heads with someone. And so maybe healing from those patterns of receiving that, but then maybe also doing that, whether consciously, subconsciously, and how to build a better boundary when it comes to that of when is the time to do that and maybe when is the time to step back and be that person to say, okay, this is happening and we can move from it or we can stay stuck in it and be stuck in this loop trying to push the other one further back and it gets nowhere. So yeah, kind of another little shadow side of Capricorn a little bit there too.
It definitely is. There's so much where we want to take on the responsibility that we almost put ourselves into a rut. So notice as Capricorn starts to show itself a little bit more in the coming weeks, being able to connect with that. And that if you're feeling these low sides, please do reach out for support. You don't have to do this alone. And if you're already starting to feel some of that energy coming in, I know I felt that energy today and had to really pivot into being the bigger person and asking, am I creating harm going further into this conversation with a contractor, or am I going to actually pull myself up and just see him as a person that has made some mistakes and is doing the best that he can? Because we never know what another person is holding on to. That metaphorical part of like what emotional baggage are they carrying, what's happening behind closed doors. So I really believe that the cosmic energy that's coming in is going to help us to further look at how can we release and let go of the delusions and the illusions of what is happening in the world and in the community around us, but then to be able to step into that sense of actually, I can bring the solutions, and it might just be more about stepping back than stepping in to create more toxicity. Some of the journal prompts that we have, I really like what you brought up here, Zane. It's like root your ambitions in what truly matters to your heart. This is going to be the theme of Capricorn season from our perspective here at the Brew. And then being able to look at what do I need to do on the daily so that my emotional needs can merge, and being able to have more flow in that rather than feeling stuck in a rut. Well, join our email list and we'll bring up some prompts in our email and being sent out with this replay. What are responsibilities are truly mine and which have I taken on unnecessarily? That one really gets me a lot. Again, speaking out to those Capricorn suns out there, especially the ones that are rising Pisces, because this is in our community. So speaking from my personal chart, there's going to be, for Capricorn season, I'm going to drop a little hint, there's going to be more structure coming through for 2026. I'll be truly activated to holding the community in such a different way. Should I say it now or shall we wait?
With the story kind of piece, I
Yeah.
would say let's explain why we're sharing this story
Yeah.
and sharing this story because when we work with transits, we can look at where the sun is moving into our houses, our personal chart. And
Mm-hmm.
by looking at a personal chart and knowing where the sun is laying up our chart can give us a little bit of an insight of maybe some direction to move forward to, or give us a little bit of a mm, one expectation is coming to mind, but like not that, ooh, I'm pressured expectation that like, ooh, maybe this can happen or this can happen. What flavors can this solar season bring up into my life, into our lives, into the community's life through astrology? And by doing that is looking at that house system, our 12 house system, which give us a different variety, different scenes of life. And so we'll quickly go over the overview of where the houses are, kind of what flavor they bring, and then share kind of where our personal houses and how to actually integrate this in a practical sense, in that dreamy, mystical, watery, practical, all the energies coming together here. So without further ado, the first house is about the self and how you show up. The second is money and resources. Third is communication, short-term travel, and education. Fourth is home and family. Fifth is creativity and children. Sixth is health and daily routines. Seventh is relationships, contracts, and marriage. Eighth is transformation and shared resources. Dreams start to form here. Ninth is travel and education, spiritual practices, and long-term travel. 10th is career and goals, where Capricorn is at home. 11th is community and friends. And 12th is karma and endings, health, subconscious, and the hidden realm. So now you're welcome to jump in, add any extra little pieces to the houses here, but then also share that story piece that you're kind of excited and wanting to jump into here.
Yeah. So as we start to learn how to grow within our chart and how we've been cosmically imprinted, we can start to use the power of the sun based on where it's lighting up our chart. So for myself, it's my 11th house. That's where Capricorn sits for me. And for Zane, it sits in his 5th house. So there is this real part of creation for him that will be activated. And for me, it's about being really seen and heard inside of the community. And earlier in our during our check-in and in our live, portion where it's not part of the recording, but the group that's here with us, what we were noticing is that there was a lot of interesting common threads that are happening, and some people were talking about moving or having family members moving, and we were kind of blindsided. Back in Gemini season, we talked about this last month about how a tree hit our house. And then in Sagittarius season, Zane finally got back into his room. He wasn't in his room for much more than a week or two to find out that we are invited to find a better home. And which we've done. So this new home is going to have a space where I can host space for community. And I'm very excited about it. We'll be closer to the lake, closer for water ceremony. And part of Capricorn season is that we will hopefully have the keys just after the sun has moved into Capricorn season. So, why do I share this? I share this because I would like those of you that are watching right now to feel empowered that how do you see perspective of like being asked to move after having a shitty situation like us? How can you now utilize the energy and see the positive side? There was a lot of emotion that came out, probably a lot of other words that I'm not going to say right now, but respectfully so, feeling those frustrations and being able to move through those emotional states. We really leaned into the tools. We traced our own meridians. We held and touched our own points to be able to feel the feels and not be stuck in them. Also, to not ignore them. So often that can be what can happen to us as individuals, and we really want to stand and say, hey, you know what? When these emotional things come up, how do you process them? What can you do to the density of the body? So, part of that will be more classes in person and online once we get set up. And so, that's sort of kind of what I'm just really excited about it because I've been waiting for some time now for that to happen. So let us know, what are you excited about for when it comes to Capricorn season? How do you think it might show up for you? And if you don't know your rising sign, let us know and we'd love to be able to give you a reading. With that, I think we'll do a quick pause, check in with our group and answer any questions here live. And those that are watching the recording, you have any questions, just hit us up with a message, theenergeticbrew@gmail.com, or leave a comment down below where you're watching this. Let's see what happens. Welcome back. We have so much fun here in our live Zoom. If you're wanting to join us, make sure to hit that button, follow with the notifications, and join us the second Thursday of every month through 2026, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Inside our Zoom, it is not all recorded because life is meant to free flow, and then you get questions answered. We were talking about some really unique things, and to things are. Without further ado, grab your calendar. We're going to talk about January the 3rd, that full moon in Cancer. We're going to be starting off 2026 under full moon energy, just a bit of bing, bada, boom. It's going to be a 5 energy day. It's going to happen in the middle of the night at 2:03 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Some of the things that happen with the full moon in Cancer, this is where the moon is at home. So there'll be time to tend our heart, find out if we're feeling crunchy or pinchy. Cancer's known as the crab. So just notice yourself. There's also going to be a little bit of excess crunchiness to watch out for. There'll be a transit that I'm not going to dive into deeply about, but it's going to be very close to this full moon. So tend how you felt like you have been maybe offended, wounded, or coming into the world with having excess challenges and learning opportunities. This transit that I'm talking about is a square between Jupiter and Chiron. We might want to expand and explore how we have maybe a lack of self-confidence. Maybe we have a tendency to overgive and to feel frustrated when it's not reciprocated. This full moon is going to have some emotional peaks, some intuitive downloads, so open your mind to what the possibilities are so that your heart can grow with more love. Zane, you want to share a little bit more about this?
Yes, so with the full moon being in Cancer, we're looking at those energies of the that home life, that family life, our roots, the emotional safety that can come from those locations, Also just looking for emotional safety, childhood patterns, that nourishment and inner child themes will be coming up during this full moon and could be mm, agitated in a good way, like brought up to the surface agitation of how to release those, how to come to terms of how those things interact in your personal life, but then also how to let go of the pieces that need to be let go of and help settle in those foundations to find those uh, emotional safety kind of locations around those topics and feeling that emotional safety. And this is happening at 13 degrees. And a little bit of extra little bit here. With it being at 13 degrees, we're looking at that in the chart, our personal chart. We have anything major at 13 degrees in Cancer or Capricorn can highlight this and bring a little bit extra to the surface for us. And so, again, a lot of that transformation, rebirth, breaking old cycles with it, reclaiming power through responsibility. And with this happening on a 5 energy day, and bringing in that sense of freedom, how can this full moon step into freedom, bringing in more freedom through it, change, but it can also be a little bit unpredictable. That sudden change, sudden realizations to it. So just know that this full moon can bring that sudden suddenness, be really unexpected and quick forward change when it comes to this full moon. Where, yeah, being really unprepared, not having those Sagittarius energies closed off before this full moon and settling into the Capricorn energies can really bring a big surprise. However, that may look through in those topics of where Cancer sits in your chart and those themes around the Cancer, that water sea crab energy. But as always, those are kind of a lot of shadows themes, but also can be really good. But then we also can experience that extra moodiness, overprotectiveness, taking things personally, and retreating too far inward and not looking for that social interaction that can help us, or that sense of retreating too far back into that emotional safety that we become really good procrastinators, or that sense of, yeah, couch potato, that sense of not having any forward movement or not making any changes.
I agree with that. Also, if you have anything in Libra or Aries at 13 degrees too, those will be getting activated, and anything in the earth signs as well. So if you have anything in Taurus or in Virgo, this full moon will be creating those sort of aspects there. So have a moment or two leading up to this full moon to really notice if you've been peopled out or if you need to have other people around you. So taking up some rest and connection to what your needs are. And for goodness sake, be the best that you can be to yourself and celebrate what you have achieved. What did you do when it came to your curiosity? What have you been able to do when it came to being able to nurture yourself? And over the winter holidays, too, did you take time to give yourself nourishment over gluttonous eating? That was something that I am really looking forward to. I've been doing a fast and also taking time to do a cleanse. So, if that feels like that's something that's being called to you to do, to really take care of yourself and give yourself real food, by heaven's sakes, take some time to do that. And some of the things that we might want to consider is like, what does emotional freedom mean to me? And what might I be healing when it comes to a childhood belief or some sort of fear from our childhood past? For those that are having challenges with their mom, also, this could be a full moon that might help you to celebrate the connection you have with your mom, or it might be illuminated on bringing forward some solutions on how to connect with your mom a little bit more. On your personal chart, though, it'll all depend on where your actual moon sign is. Moving into, cooking some comfort food, nourishing your body, cleanse the home. So take some time. What is it that you might want to get rid of? What has been cluttering up some space in the home space for the collective? And I think, does that feel sort of complete on that? Should we go into the new moon?
Yeah, that new moon, feeling complete on that of, yeah, a lot of that feel into the comfort, but don't sink into it. Find that balance, find that fine line on that boundary during this full moon that's coming up within Capricorn season. And as always, with the full moon, there's a new moon in the season. And the new moon is happening on January 18th. This is the Capricorn new moon, helping us bring in that energy to set in new structures, our new foundations, a little bit more than just that highlighting and solar energy that we had in the beginning of the season. Some of the other key themes can be ambition, legacy, discipline, persistence, building a new long-term path, reclaiming authority over your life, and maybe other areas. And so that sense of, yeah, how can you bring in more energy and freshen up things? How can you set in those, how you want to move forward coming this new year, really with this new moon, and continue on with that energy throughout the year? As this is happening on a, ooh, what's the energy day? I didn't get that in here. Hopefully you have it, but this is also happening. I'm just going to segue into how this is happening, just like how the full moon was happening at 13 degrees. This one is happening at 28 degrees. So this brings in that symbolism of personal leadership, independence, spiritual maturity, and completing a major chapter as we're coming to a close of Capricorn season and becoming the authority of your own life. So these are all themes to think about when it comes to this degree of the Capricorn new moon and layering in those other things that we can help manifest and bring in with that new moon energy as well. As yeah, that's the interesting thing is that just much like the full moon, we can bring in that aspect of checking our chart, looking to see if we have anything else sitting at that 28 degrees. And then we can add in that little bit of extra flavor to it. But this new moon seems really light and fluffy, unlike the full moon. This one, but there's still the shadow side, as everything has a shadow to it. And so it can be that sense of being too hard on yourself, perfectionism, overworking, or ignoring emotional needs. And so a lot of these things are going over that sense of we can push ourselves too hard coming up to this new moon and making it so that it's like we want to make it so that we have the perfect new moon ritual or that set in stone. This is how my year's gonna look from now on. And so that perfectionism or working too hard in it and overworking can start our year off with a large amount of burnout. It's not a great feeling trying to move through the year with constant burnout. So know that this full moon in Cancer was here to help you realize how you can sit back in the emotional safety. But then this new moon is here to show us how we can work and move forward. How's that coming along on your side there? Anything you would like to add here?
I think that's brilliant. Yeah, there is going to be some really interesting parts. The fact that this new moon is going to be really at the tail end of Capricorn season, I think it's going to give us some emotional maturity, capacity to step into our leadership a little bit more, allowing ourselves to see how we can be the leader from within, and even if it is just that we are leading ourselves. So, one of the things I want to draw forward to about if this new year doesn't feel like it starts in January, let that be okay because in the astrology part, Capricorn is not the beginning of the season. It's going to be towards the tail end, right? So if you feel like there's not quite ready to get those goals started or to have these resolutions, maybe just work on your vision. What is it that you want to create? What is it that you want to play with? And depending on where it is in your chart, that'll also be expressed differently too. So just really encouraging you to join our membership or to come to these calls so you can start getting that answered for yourself. We're here to hold you. We're here to support you. I'm already starting to step into that new moon in Capricorn energy. It is very close to my solar return. And so when I look at that 28 degrees happening in any of the cardinal signs for you, really taking the time to focus on how do you create abundance for yourself. I'm just looking at 28, the number, and being able to draw on that again. So little extra tidbit there as a little bit of a bonus. Let us know too, what do you have at 28 degrees? We will check in with our group here for a little bit. I'm noticing our time. I think we'll go over the kidney meridian, wrap up this recording part, and then check in with our group after we go into the kidney meridian that you've chosen for Capricorn season. Do you have that handy
Yes,
to
I
pull up?
do.
Excellent. So, an affirmation as we're working with the kidney meridian, one that we have here picked up is also I am supported, I am stable, and I am aligned with my true path. So, as you're tracing your own kidney meridian, you can choose to use that affirmation, the one that might show up on the card. Where the kidney meridian starts is at the bottom of the foot, right by the ball of our toe. There we go. That's perfect. So, as we trace this meridian on our body, this is about you taking time to feel into the energy of your own body and what it feels like to be able to touch that line, to be able to hover over that line, and to give yourself permission to feel into the energy of your own body. The kidneys are all, that energy is all about water. It's also all about toxicity and being able to detox our body. Our kidney meridian energy is, and our organs are something that we are not able to live without. So, tending our kidneys is really, really important. A side note, and sort of a little bit of a bonus piece of information, when we have stored anger and frustration, it may show up like kidney stones or having issues with our kidneys. So, something that we can do is trace the meridian, and we can also hold that part of ourselves if you're able to at the back, just low into that area, and being able to pulse the energy. When it comes to the kidney meridian, it is going to start at the bottom of the foot as it's shown in this picture, come along the side of the foot. It does sort of like, kind of like when I teach my students, I'm like, it's like a cul-de-sac. You kind of go in a roundabout just by the ankle, and then you're coming up through the midline on the inside of the legs, up past the groin, the center core, past the belly button on either side, and then it goes a little bit wide as you approach the rib cage, and it ends underneath the clavicle or the collarbone. So, when you're tracing this, trace with as much pressure as you can handle, noticing if you have to pause or go faster or give yourself less pressure. This is something where it's inviting you to pay attention to how it feels in your own body. There's a couple of questions here that you can also contemplate and notice when you set an intention, when you feel like you need to calm down. This is something that you can start to play with. Speaking to those that have menstruating bodies, the kidney meridian is a really good meridian to work with to be able to dissolve cramps, to be able to dissolve pain or discomfort during that time. And those that are going through menopause or perimenopause, the kidney meridian is also another good one to be able to set the intention to balance the hormones and to be able to calm down any of those hot flashes. So, Zane, is there anything you want to add to the kidney meridian section?
Mm, like the only thing that I'm here to bring into the kidney meridian piece that I can add is that sense of the kidney meridian is a water element, so it's that opposite table of Capricorn, helping bring in that Cancer energy to help build in that emotional security a little bit with that full moon, helping us build in that energy of that new moon to energize ourselves, being able to step forward, and also just set us on that path of feeling energized and giving ourselves that structure within our body and our energy when it just comes to Capricorn season in general as well. As the questions here are, what area of your life needs more attention and what is no longer serving you? And so those are that sense of maybe what boundaries, rules, regulations that aren't serving you, and maybe what areas of life require more of those boundaries, those regulations, maybe some more rules, and that sense of discipline as well to life. And so that's why I picked the kidney meridian and why we're bringing that in to as the body tool for Capricorn season. Any other practices here before we sign out
Mm,
for the
yeah.
night?
If there is a need for um, sort of flushing that kidney meridian, you can be touching it, but you can also use your hands and waving it up and down as well, following that line. Again, being able to work with kidney energy, being able to flush out what no longer belongs. I think this is going to be something that is going to be needed, being able to let go of any stagnant energy too, because again, looking at Capricorn and Cancer, that connection, this is really about us being able to look at home life, and it's also looking at who are we in our community collectively speaking. So giving yourself full permission to be the shining person that you are. Yeah, I think that sort of wraps things up for us here. Thanks for watching our little replay here. Let us know what kind of questions that you might have. Leave us some positive comments. Make sure to hit that bell for the notifications. And for goodness sake, mark the calendar for the second Thursday of every month. Come in and join us here live and see what happens behind the scenes. Appreciate you so much. Have yourself a beautiful Capricorn season. And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
Yes. And with that, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time for the next upcoming season up in January. The exact date is January 8th. So otherwise, keep in mind, second Saturday, 7 p.m. We'll see you here live on Zoom.
Second Saturday. What? I mean, the second
Thursday.
Thursday. Second
Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, I was
Second
like, wait,
Thursday.
what? We're doing something more?
Seven more? No,
It's
no,
okay.
not yet, at least. No,
Not yet.
not
Maybe
yet.
that's a foreshadow. You never
Maybe.
know.
We'll see.
All right. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you again next time.
Until next time.